Hey, YouTube fans, Mike Palumbo, traffic ticket defense lawyer extraordinaire. I want to share with you today a great story about a case I just did for a client. And what happened was my client's license was suspended, and I had to make an application to the Department of Motor Vehicles to get it back. And it really should have took me like 3 months to get his license back. It ended up taking me 2 weeks. And I want to explain to the audience, what I did, what happened, and really a cautionary tale of always hiring the right lawyer for your case. Before I get started, please hit the like button, the thumbs up button, and subscribe to the channel if you like the content. So what happened with this guy was he was involved in an accident. It was a one-car accident. It happened in January of this year. He was driving home. He was on Interstate 87 in Rockland County. And it was snowing. It was cold out. It was nighttime. It was like 6 o'clock at night. And it was dark, and he hit some black ice, and he skidded out of control off to the right side of the highway, and he struck a tree. And in the accident, he had head trauma. So what happened was the head trauma caused him to pass out at the scene. He was knocked unconscious at the scene, and the next thing he remembers was, he was talking to the ambulance people and the police officer. There was a state trooper there. And that's really the next thing he remembers. That he was already kind of engaged in conversation with him. He said he remembers losing control of the car, going off the side of the car, seeing the tree, like he was heading towards this tree, and then the next thing he remembers, he was out of the car. So he goes, yeah, I don't exactly remember 100% of what I said to him, but the issue was somehow it filtered back up to the Department of Motor Vehicles that he had lost consciousness, which caused the accident. Instead of what really happened, he lost control of the car, and the injuries he sustained in the accident caused him to lose consciousness. Now, anytime you lose consciousness while driving a car, or anytime a police officer may pull you over, or a relative might believe that you're unfit to drive, anyone can report you to the New York State Department of Motor Vehicles and allege that this person is you believe that this person is medically unsound to drive. And it often happens the way it just happened here, where there's a police at an accident scene, or someone runs a red light. They go, well, I couldn't quite see the color of the light because I have cataracts, something like, along they explain they have a medical condition which caused them to not obey a traffic law. Or there's an accident, and the police officer may suspect that you lost consciousness, you had a medical episode which caused the accident. I'm sure that's probably what happened in this case. I don't know really for sure, but it had to have been how it happened. So what the DMV does is they'll send the motorist a letter saying, hey, there's an allegation that you're unfit to drive a car. Here's a form. Bring it to your doctor. Have your doctor give you a medical exam. And the doctor fills out this form. And the conclusion of the doctor is like 3 check boxes. One is the person is medically sound to drive. There's no medical reason why they can't drive. The second one is their medical condition may cause a danger to the road. And the third one is this person should not drive. This person is not medically fit to drive. So what happened when he brought it to his doctor, and they brought him through a whole series of tests. He had EKGs, he had stress tests, he had neurological consult, he had brain scans, he had brain MRIs, and everything was negative. Everything was normal. The guy was like in his mid-50s, a relatively healthy guy. He told the doctor, no, I lost consciousness after I had some head trauma in the accident. He had the emergency room reports indicating that, that's what he told the doctors at the emergency room. And probably to cover her ass, the doctor checked off, and the form said, we found nothing wrong with him. There's no medical problems with him, but his condition may cause a problem. May cause a danger to drive. His medical condition is such that it may cause a problem to drive. But there was no medical condition. So what the DMV did was they said, well, you know what, we're going to suspend you for 6 months, and in 6 months bring back another medical report, or you could demand a hearing. And I've done these in the past. The hearing goes off in Albany, and so it's not an appeal, okay? Because not like you get to present evidence. An appeal will be they make a determination, you argue it's legally insufficient. The only evidence initially presented was the doctor's, the form the doctor filled out. So you can present other evidence to the contrary at a hearing, and it's a highly specialized hearing. It the DMV actually has doctors at this hearing, and there are DMV examiners, but the doctor is the one that's vetting out all the medical information. They're going to recommend to the DMV examiner what to do. So they're really making a decision, not really not an untrained, someone who's not medically trained. And I've done these hearings in the past, and then what you do, you got 30 days to demand a hearing, and I know the fax number, but you mail it in, and I faxed it in. But here's the thing: I looked at this, and so the cadence of how it goes is you demand the hearing, they send you back confirmation, they give you a date, which is going to be like 2 or 3 months from now, and they give you a time frame which to submit other evidence that you're going to bring. They want you to submit the evidence in advance. So I said to my client, like, do you have the medical reports? Can you get them? He got them right away. Like the underlying reports, like the brain scan that showed negative, the EKG that showed negative, the stress test that showed negative. And I said, can you give me your medical records from the ER as well? And which showed he had head trauma in the accident. He got me all that stuff. I pulled the police accident report, which indicated he was going around a curve, indicated everything he said. It was snowing, it was wet, it was nighttime, So what I did was, because now the guy worked in New York City but lived about an hour and a half upstate, and he really needed his license back. He couldn't wait 3 months to get this hearing and to get approved, because he was suspended until we got to the hearing. So what I did was, because I do a lot of appeals at the DMV, I do a lot of applications for clients at the DMV, I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to demand the hearing, but I got all this evidence here, which I'm going to submit. I'm going to basically submit this evidence with my application, kind of almost like maybe we'll get lucky and I'll get an examiner who will look at just the papers and say, you know what, this is ridiculous. I mean, there's nothing here. And I submitted that. I put together, basically, like a memorandum, a brief, so to speak, in letter form. I demanded the hearing. I said, and here's some preliminary evidence we're going to produce, which actually was all the evidence, but the preliminary evidence we're going to produce. And I did like a 2.5 page summary of it, and basically made the argument, like, look, I know the doctor checked off he may be a danger to the road, but she certifies that she found nothing wrong with him. She said there's no medical conditions. The medical records prove that. The police report proves that he was driving. It was nighttime. It was snowing. It was wet out. It was like 23 degrees out that night. There's a notation on the police accident report. And the police report, there was nothing in the police report that indicated that the cops suspected that he had passed out prior to the accident, that he lost, it's called loss of bodily function, that they basically lost consciousness, which caused the accident. There was nothing there that even said that. So I submitted it. I said to the guy, look, he was burning through vacation time. He goes, look, they're going to fire me. I was like, listen, I'm doing everything I can. So I submitted like that. I'm thinking like maybe we'll get lucky, because I know who these people are. There's a medical review unit of the Department of Motor Vehicles. It's just a subunit of the driver improvement unit that passes on all these issues. And they're used to looking at things on paper. I said maybe we'll get it in front of like whoever opens this envelope. Maybe they'll be a little bit senior. Maybe a supervisor will catch it. Maybe the person will bring it to their supervisor and say, like, do we even really need this hearing? Maybe they'll just bring it to a doctor, and one of the doctors that works there, and says, well, if we do this hearing, are you gonna, would you grant it? So, maybe we'll get a little lucky. And that's exactly what happened. 2 weeks later, they sent him a note, say, yeah, we restored your driving privileges. It didn't explain exactly why. I know why. Because of the way I submitted my application package. So what I was trying to do, which I was successful at, was truncating the need for an actual in-person hearing. Because his testimony, well, obviously his testimony would have been helpful to say, hey, I didn't pass out. I lost consciousness, in the accident. The accident. You just testify consistent with what the record said. So that's what I ended up doing. I sent it all in, and it worked out well for him, and it worked out. He got his license back. We didn't have to go to Albany. We didn't have to wait 2 or 3 months for a hearing. And the reason I'm telling you this story, here's the punchline here, is that whenever you need a lawyer for anything, always, always, always find a lawyer that specializes in what you need. That's always going to be the best lawyer for your case, because I have experience doing this, because I learned the DMV. I learned years ago, I learned who the people were. I learned who the various units of the Department of Motor Vehicles were. I made friends in the legal department. If I have a question, I can't figure something out, or if I'm in real trouble with a unit of the DMV, I'll call my friends up at the legal department in Albany. I know this stuff inside and out. If you had it, I'm a really good lawyer, but I'm a really good lawyer for what I do. If you had an immigration issue, I'm a great lawyer, and I could certainly hack through something and teach myself something. But you don't want me teaching myself that on your case. You want to find a lawyer who's understudied under somebody else, and who's doing it and does it day in and day out. That's the moral of the story. That's why I'm bringing you this story. Always, 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 for whatever legal matter you need, find a lawyer that specializes in just what you need. That is the right lawyer to hire. And with that, I thank you for listening to the story. And I just want everyone to have a great day and a great evening whenever you're watching this. And, again, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to bring you more great content. Peace out.